Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to touch base on what Wednesday could look like, or Thursday, or next Thursday. So we are scheduled to be in our buildings tomorrow for a data day, but if that doesn't happen, I want to have a staff meeting on Thursday. And so here's what I want to talk about. With lots of great conversations with Mrs. Ryman. I'm so happy that she's back in the building full time. But we really want to keep focusing on that MTSS process. And so it's uniform. We have conversations about that with the other principals. And so we're trying to get sort of everybody in the right direction on how to best meet the individual needs of the building. So as a quick reminder, so when we do meet, maybe tomorrow after school, as a staff, unless we don't have an early out due to weather. Just a reminder that core is for everyone, nearly everyone. I can't think of one who doesn't get it, but it's very limited basis if they don't get the core. And then we start asking those questions: what happens in the classroom when the student does not demonstrate an understanding of essential learning? Again, that's still within the realm of the teacher inside the classroom. So there's the core, and then there's the more. And they are certainly, we would want people to be consulting with at-risk special ed, whoever. And if we're doing any co-teaching, that's definitely falls in the realm of a Tier 2 classroom intervention, individual intervention, small group intervention, that type of thing. Again, collecting data, looking at what happens, how can we best meet the needs, targeted interventions, different things like that. If we feel that we're not progressing the way the students, using our data, let data carry the heavy weight, we say, is not showing the data that we're hoping for, then we start looking more at our core and modifications. Again, more in-depth progress monitoring and more in-depth diagnostic work. Again, that's when we'll pull again more specialized services in our at-risk, our special ed, etc. So what I would like us to do to get us in the practice of this, our targeted thing that I want us to look at, and I'm certainly open to discussions, is literacy. So when we meet as in our team meetings, sort of structure that I want to look at is, since we have 20 minutes in our teams, and I want to really keep that tight to that 20 minutes because time is precious here. So I want to talk about Tier 1. How are students responding to instruction? I want to use 5 minutes, again, that global tier instruction, that core instruction, how it's going, what's it look like, what it looks like when students are demonstrating and understanding, and what it looks like when they aren't demonstrating. And so from there, I would like to take 10 minutes of our 20 minutes to talk about that Tier 2, that core and more, what that looks like, what it sounds like, where people can support, collaborate, again, to meet those needs within the classroom, what data we're looking at, and again, where the CFAs play. We're great, we've got a lot of great sort of screeners, but it's that diagnostic stuff that's going to really target those individual student needs. I also want to, of course, talk about the 95%, where it fits to support those explicit instructions around student needs, and then start talking about supporting each other to support the needs of the students. Again, this is building-wide. And then talk about grouping students by skill deficit and not just proficiency, and that's in reading 10 success factors for literacy intervention. It's very important that we aren't just putting kids in groups by screeners, but by needs. And so that gives us 5 minutes of Tier 1, 10 minutes of Tier 2, and then in our team meetings, I want to talk about, leave 5 minutes left for next steps. What do we need? We'll do what? Students who might be in that Tier 3. And what I want to start by is having a conversation of, does this make sense? What it looks like, what it sounds like. Are we all on the same page of how we can maximize Mrs. Ryman's expertise in coaching? We're going to be presenting some tools and some different things that Mrs. Ryman and I, along with our Mrs. Birkin, our BLT leader, how we can then, again, district-wide, have a process district-wide that we're participating in, that the process is district-wide by grade levels and PLC groups, but is also building need specific around the students and where they're at. So that's a lot to chew on for right now, but again, this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about in our team meetings. I'd like to roll it out in a staff meeting, but who knows what it's going to be for this weather. All right, that's the thinking part. Every once in a while, there is a Friday funny so unbelievably funny that it needs its own funny, and we have found that today. So, Mrs. Birkin walked into her classroom to find this. Oops, where'd it go? There it is. That is Isabel Teeple, and Miss Birkin walked in, and there was Izzy, just like that. So, no real explanation, but to hear Mrs. Birkin tell it, of course, is much funnier than me. But well done, Izzy. It's just painful just looking at it, but that sure it cracks me up. So anyway, this stuff may not make a whole lot of sense right now, and I think we do a beautiful job already. We desperately want to meet the needs of all those students, which I love. As I and my coach, Mrs. Ryman, become more up to speed in the students and their needs and all that stuff, it's going to be fun seeing the progress our students are making. So, the last time I tried this Screencast-O-Matic, it did not go to YouTube. Fingers crossed. Drive safely. This weather is just driving me nuts. See ya.